The Lake Guardians are the fourth installment of the fairy-like, but not very typed mythical Mew Pokemon, except this time they're not mythicals at all, they're legends. We're rating them all with Uxie, whatever comes first in the decks, weird enough, and it is the defensive variant of the three. 130s in defense is amazing, and its 95 speed and 75 everywhere else is at least decent. My main issue with defensive Pokemon is the fact that defense by itself isn't worth much at all if you aren't also returning damage or at least inflicting status or some other kind of support. But Uxie does have quite a few support options, as well as Calm Mind and Amnesia, so it can set up and use its wide range of offensive options and even Giga Drain for recovery to become an actual problem. Oh, and in Gen 8 it gets even more amazing TMs to help its case. A very rare defensive 5 stars in battle prowess. And remember, availability for legends is compared to other legends, so in Uxie's case, being able to get it before the 8th gym is great. Not nearly as early as things like Zapdos or Raikou, but much earlier than others. But it is locked behind the post-game in the remakes for some reason, 3.5 stars. Conceptually though, it goes way deeper than I realized. I'm sure you're already aware that this is the being of knowledge, it was the birth of intelligence. But Uxie giveth and Uxie taketh away. It also has the ability to wipe memories. But even cooler than that is the fact that this whole trio seems to draw inspiration from the Imperial Regalia of Japan, or the 3 sacred treasures. Uxie being based on the Yatano Kagami, or sacred bronze mirror, which embodies wisdom and honesty, 5 stars. Design-wise though, I'm honestly shocked at how poorly viewed they are. I got so many comments and messages talking about how forgettable, bland, and indistinguishable they are, and honestly, I kind of agree, but not to the same extent. Yes, they all do look exactly the same from the neck down, but I think that that's fine. They're kind of supposed to. I think they serve their purpose and concept as angels sent by Arceus very well. The tails are cool, and I do like how Uxie is unique among them, with the eyes being closed, either meditating or like using its mental powers to see and move instead. I think it portrays the being of blank concept by far the best out of its trio, 4.5 stars in design. So that does give Uxie the final score of 4.5 stars overall, and this Legend's top 5 is going to start getting real crowded soon. Mesprit is clearly the weakest link in the Lake Guardian trio. We're rating them all, and in battle it almost has that typical Mew archetype stat spread. 80s in HP and speed and 105s in its attacks and defenses, which is of course awesome. It is really good at almost everything, but not amazing at anything, which is quite different from the others in its trio. Uxie shines defensively and Azelf offensively, which is really cool stylistically, but in a game like Pokemon, the Master of None doesn't usually shine. Its moves are also just not as good. It replaces Yawn with Lucky Chant and Amnesia with Charm, which fine. Its TMs are still amazing of course, with support, setup, and plenty of offense, but surprisingly different. It's still awesome in its own right and still a legendary Pokemon, but it's far from being bad by any means, but I don't think that it's quite 5 stars. 4.5 stars in battle prowess. Then it's available before the 8th gym in original Sinnoh, but locked until the post-game in the remakes, and unlike the others in its trio, it's roaming there as well, so compared to other legends, it's still 3.5 stars. This whole line's concept though is incredible. They seem to be based on the Imperial Regalia of Japan, or the 3 sacred treasures. Mesprit, being the being of emotion who taught humans joy and sadness, takes inspiration from the, hold on, I'm gonna try, Yasakani no Magatama, or Sacred Jewel, obviously 5 stars. Design-wise, funnily enough, Mesprit pulled as the least favorite in its trio by a long shot, but as I showed with Uxie, these 3 are shockingly disliked, even if they somehow still pulled high. It's honestly really hard to find anything unique to say about one Lake Guardian over the other because they're so similar. I think they all do a good job of portraying the mysterious guardian angel thing sent down by Arceus idea, but outside of Uxie, I really don't think they show the knowledge, emotion, or willpower thing all too well at all. But they're still pretty cool looking Pokemon though, and Mesprit is no different, 3.5 stars, which gives Mesprit the final score of 4.125 stars overall, pretty low for a legend. Azelf may be the overwhelming fan favorite of the Lake Trio, but is it the best? Rating them all, and in battle, it definitely has an argument for it. It is, of course, the offensively focused of the 3 with 125 in both attacks, 115 speed, and respectable stats otherwise. So you couple that with it learning Nasty Plot by level up, then plenty of utility, offense, and coverage by TMs, even in Gen 4, and you have yourself an amazing fast mixed attacking sweeper that can also just go boom if things get rough. Easily 5 stars. Availability-wise, it is of course the exact same as the others. It's available before the 8th gym in Diamond and Pearl, then immediately after the Elite Four in the remakes, because Sinnoh's availability is even more nonsensical than Johto's, but compared to other legends, 3.5 stars. As for concept though, as we went over with the first 2, they seem to be based on the 3 sacred treasures, or Imperial Regalia of Japan. Azelf, who is the being of willpower, takes place at a legendary sword, or, oh gosh, Kusanagi no Tsurugi, I think, which embodies valor, or the choice of willingness to face challenge. Of course, this gets 5 stars as well. And as referenced at the start, Azelf pulled as the heavy favorite in its trio, as well as the only one that 5 stars won out. Which, like at first glance, I get it, I agree, it definitely has the most rule of cool feeling out of the three. It looks the best, for sure, for some reason, even though looking at it critically, it is basically the exact same thing as Mesprit, just blue and pointy instead of pink and floppy. Like I've said, they all do a good job of portraying the mythical angel sent by Arceus to improve humanity thing well, but they really don't do anything to portray the being of whatever idea at all, other than Uxie, who does fairly well. So I think that for Azelf, 4 stars is fair, which gives it 4.375 stars overall, and it just wills its way into Legends top 5.